Hello there, good evening and welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics live on Trust TV. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you very much for joining us on tonight's edition of the program. Now, insecurity in northern Nigeria has become a permanent fixture in public discussions about the challenges facing Nigeria's poorest and most underdeveloped region. Now, this week, 10 governors from the Northwest and North Central attended a security summit in faraway United States to brainstorm solutions for the unending struggle to restore peace and security across the region. Also this past week, the governors met in Kaduna to synergize on ways to address insecurity across the region as a collective. So are these efforts signposting a shift in the direction of a solution-driven approach, or is this more of the same lip service that has become part of the narrative? Is banditry being commercialized by stakeholders as suggested by the governor of Katsina State as a business venture? Well, joining us on the program tonight is Dr. Tanko Ahmed, who is a security expert and a fellow of the National War College of Nigeria. He's joining us virtually from Plateau State. Doctor, good evening and thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Yeah, good evening, Abdullahi. I'm pleased to be here.
Good. Okay, let's start off in Kaduna with this report put together by Bello Musa, who was attending the summit by some of the northern governors who were back home strategizing on ways to address the recurring issue of insecurity, especially in the northern part of the country.
The governors and the representatives of other governors who were not present arrived at the Sarkashim House, Kaduna, for the meeting. The forum dwells on the myriads of challenges bedeviling the region, which it said must be addressed for the region to develop.
Economic development is paramount to our region's security and prosperity. We consider economic development as the long-term solution to our security challenges. In this regard, the revitalization of the new Nigeria Development Company, NNDC, is at the heart of our economic agenda for northern Nigeria.
The host governor, Senator Obasani, said the meeting afforded them the opportunity to look into the successes and challenges in the fight against terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping in the region.
Since the inaugural meeting, we have individually and collectively fashioned workable strategies and implemented some measures to tackle our security challenges. We have made remarkable progress in degrading criminal elements laying siege to our communities.
The meeting ended with the closed-door session. Meanwhile, a communique is expected to be issued by the governors.
Well, Bello Musa's report there from Kaduna State this past week, where some of the northern governors in attendance brainstormed on issues affecting the region, most notably security, as well as economic growth and development. Bringing our guest in, security expert and analyst Dr. Ahmed, into the conversation as a Nigerian from the northern part of the country. What do you make of these developments? Our political leaders seem to be moving towards action, seem to be stimulated by some of the developments that we've seen over the past few months to want to do something. Does this, in your view, signpost a shift, or is this just more of the same lip service that has characterized the governance process over the past few decades?
Well, thank you very much. Personally, I am not comfortable with issues of series of meetings. Every day we have meetings, small thing we will have meetings. These meetings are not even as good as jamborees, where if decision is taken, people will abide by it. Also, the people that are going to be served by these governors, they don't even know the agenda of the meeting. And now you have a meeting where half of it you done it public and the other half you say you do it closed door, and at the end of the day, nobody knows what you decide. People would like to see action, would like to see things taking place. But every day you see this idea of meetings signifies that somewhere, somehow, a lot of people are not taking decision. And if you don't take decision, there is no way you can apply any action. So I would say these meetings are not only getting boring to us or to the governors themselves, but they are becoming annoying.
And in talking about the scale of this problem, as well as looking at the scale of the solutions, I mean, the subnationals are one part of the equation. Obviously, this is a national challenge. But do you think these governors coming together as a collective, and also let's talk about these summits that some of them attended, 10 governors from the Northwest and the North Central were in the United States. A lot of people didn't really like the fact that they're discussing a Nigerian issue in faraway United States. Let me just get your take as someone who is a player in the industry. What does that tell you? And do you think that this particular approach of theirs, getting international help or some kind of outsourcing the approach towards addressing this local issue, is this the right way to go?
Well, I can tell you right away that not only security issues, all issues handled by government have their own foreign component. That is, nobody would take care of a local problem in this new world now without involving other people. So the idea of going to the United States, particularly the Institute of Peace, along with experts that are advising the governors, along with officials, along with everything that is necessary. You see, people did not know the time they were going. If they knew, they don't know what they have gone there to discuss. If they had known that, they don't know what they have arranged. So we still come back to the same misunderstanding or problem or challenges that are posed by too many meetings. In this case, too many travels. There are some of the state governors that have actually started taking care of the challenges they have within their own states. Are they going to the Institute for Peace or whatever you call it in Washington to exchange these views so that the foreign components now will constitute what the Americans are going to do? Are they going to do that? Nobody knows. And let me tell you one thing. There is a comedian, Dr. Bello Galadenchi, very nice comedian. He posts a reel where he interviews these governors. Of course, what they have reflected there are issues that can make people laugh. But at the end of the day, also it ridiculed and it shows how ridiculous this series of meetings, this series of traveling are. And I'm still insisting, among those governors, there are some that have actually taken care of the challenges that are facing them. I will talk about two where I usually stay, Jigawa and the Plateau. In Jigawa, we had the problem of security challenges in Guri, in the Emirate. As soon as this governor came in, he went in there and actually sorted out this problem. We don't have any of these cases. I don't know, maybe if something happened today or yesterday, but then as soon as the governor came, the approach he brought in seems to be working in Guri. And also in Plateau here, I will tell you, you don't have explosive. Mango was in some a few weeks or few months. But now things are coming under control. Unless if they have gone out there to improve on what they have done locally, or to sell all of the ideas, and then maybe the institute there, because it's a center that considers this kind of thing, will bring up better ideas. If that is also the case, why go to the Institute of Peace? Why not go to the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies? Why don't you go to the National Defense College? Why don't you go to the Police Institute of Studies or National Institute for Security Studies? We have blueprints on how this thing can be solved. Even if you are going to involve people from outside, first of all, take advantage of what is available for you at home. Going to the issues of institutes, some of these institutes may not be serving the interests or correct things that the governors are looking for. So I thought maybe this kind of thing, when they meet, when they exchange their own views and they consider where to focus their own attention, that should be the purpose of the meetings. But coming back to the points that I raised before, people don't know what they are going to do. People don't know what they have done, and people don't know where the results are. I think we also have problem of strategic communication here.
Right. And in talking about that, just against the backdrop of this particular development, the governor of Katsina State, while shedding light on the engagements, did talk about some of those collaborations at the international level about addressing this local challenge. I mean, we'll circle back to utilizing local resources. As you did say, that we have quite a variety of options that the governors can use at this level. But he also talked about something that really did stand out. He talked about the commercialization of the entire insecurity in northern Nigeria, where it has become a business venture. Now, this is like, it has been an open secret for the most part that there are a lot of people who are, making money from this chaos, from this instability and destruction that has pretty much crippled the northern part of the country, especially when we talk about the economics of it, agriculture, for instance. Give me your take on those thoughts and what this signpost, especially coming from the governor. He surely knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, from what I could gather, the Katsina State governor actually came out rightly, openly, to say that some officials are making big business out of the banditry, or let's call it the security threat generally. In this case, there is an obvious disconnect between the so-called government, maybe a group of people that are headed by the governor and his special advisor, and as I said, there is some kind of disconnect between them and the officials that are supposed to serve them or to work along with them. In this case, what you are supposed to do, most of these governors, when they come, when they resume office, usually you are supposed to have them in a group to train them in a retreat. We used to have it in NIPS even as late as 1990s when we are breaking through with the this present republic before it came into being. There are these standard courses where you call in the governors nationally, all of them. You call them and you stay for just 2 days so that they will know how to coordinate with each other. But also this thing is not taking place. And now you have officials openly working against the government. And also some of these research institutes that are government funded, they are directly involved in what you call opposition research. That is, they do research and give advice to government on things that they don't know anything about. They don't do much research. I'm saying this as somebody that has background in one of these institutions. I stand to be corrected or to be challenged by anybody. These agencies are not manned by a proper, bold staff that openly can come out and challenge these people in government and tell them the truth as on when due. But you see, all this gap that I have mentioned around, when you put them together, there is no way you can manage any security issues even in a community, what more of a state.
Right. And in talking about that, let's expand on that a little bit, especially with something that's come to light. In Sokoto State, for instance, just a couple of weeks ago, the governor had relieved some traditional chiefs of their jobs and some permanent secretaries. A part of the accusation or allegations made by the government, or rather the reason behind the sacking, was some mismanagement, corruption, but also something tied to the insecurity in some of those local communities. And we've seen that also happen in parts of Zamfara State, for instance, where some of these local traditional rulers have been indicted in the grand scheme of things, especially talking about insecurity. What are your thoughts about how deep this challenge of insecurity, especially in connection with banditry, runs, especially in our communities? Because we see some of these images, as the one that we're showing right now, that these bandits are embedded in our communities, for instance. They're not hiding in some of the cases as you would have it, because they are part of the community, and they do have the cover of community members and, unfortunately, some of the community leaders. In talking about how complicated the situation is, it does appear that the military option is not going to get us out of this particular challenge.
Everything in governance, anything is embedded within the people, including security and lack of it. Talking about the military has its own professional way of doing things. If you take the military, for example, and you want to put all the burden of solving this problem, no, I don't think it's fair to the military or any other security agency. Now, what does it leave us with? It leaves us with the management of the people on the ground. That is where the traditional rulers come in. So you may come and sack as many traditional rulers as you can, but for people to understand, or even for other agencies to intervene correctly and effectively, you have to tell the people what each traditional ruler has done. Is the traditional ruler involved in gun running? Is he involved in giving information to bandits? Is the traditional ruler involved in resisting to give information to the state? Here, if you understand, once you establish this, you hand the traditional ruler either to the police, or you bring in the intelligence service to reconstruct how you are going to be mapping intelligence from the community and how you are going to be analyzing it. All this coming is just like disease now. You go to hospital, when they send you to the lab, it is either malaria or yellow fever or what do you call it, typhoid. If it is that, they give you malaria treatment, they give you this. But you cannot just sit in the government house because you have executive power. You sack this today, you sack the another person tomorrow. You are not working with them, and you are accusing them of not cooperating, and you are running somewhere to go and look for solution. Look, this is a situation, the talk of chaos. Yes.
And also, just to double down on this particular issue, let's take a look at the economy of the North, for instance, which is primarily agrarian in most cases. And we're right now, as a country, dealing with food shortages alongside the economic situation of food inflation and things like that. We already had quite a terrible year last year with agricultural output being at its lowest, partly because, or largely because of the insecurity. Their farmers are unable to go to their farms, and for the most part, this exploitation and destruction by the bandits has further compounded an already bad situation. Give me an understanding about how we can utilize some of these local assets, like the traditional rulers, for instance. As you did say, it is one thing to sack them, it's another thing to actually hold them accountable for some of these things. And for some people, they've been sidelined or marginalized for quite a long time. And this is, for some of them who lack the credibility or integrity, this is an opportunity for them to make ends meet. Quite unfortunate as the case may be. But give me a sense of what we can do, especially with, the traditional administration that we have at the local level, because they do have to interact with the locals who do have this intelligence that the government needs?
Okay. For some years now, the police and the presidency of this country, they have been on track with community policing. The idea of community policing will not only just secure community by carrying arms to prevent people from interfering with the community or something like that. No, it is also going to be concerned with safeguarding economic chain value or agricultural chain value, where people will be guaranteed to produce, to process, and then also to package all this kind of thing. Agriculture is some kind of, agriculture has some kind of a magic wand when you come to solving economic problems in an agrarian society. Agriculture is not like oil and gas industry. It is not like construction. It's not like all these other industry, extractive industries and other things. Agriculture is a one-season impact system of recovery for people. Let's say if you are planting millet, you get everybody to plant millet in that area. It's not going to take 3 years. It's just millet takes under 3 months, you can take it to the market. So what is the problem here? The problem here is how we manage ourselves. It starts with the quality of the people we have at the highest level and also the lowest level. Let's talk about the politicians which we believe that we want to line up to elect people who will come and handle our challenges. Beginning from the governor, you also have senators in a state. You also have members of a House of Reps. You have members of House of Assembly in the state. You have local government chairmen. You have councillors. You even have party offices. Are there not enough a system that you can ginger and strengthen and smarten so that it will be able to solve problems? We can do this, but then you can understand outrightly, these are people that cannot even manage themselves. They are not loyal to themselves. And whenever somebody starts something good, no matter at which level, you find that it's among themselves, some other people, some of them will hack them. That is outside those people that we have elected to rule. What about the institutions? What about the ministries? What about the hordes of civil servants that are trained? You house them, you give them salary, you do everything. You then discover that they are not even working with the government. So what are you going to do? We need some sharp, ruthless reform, if I may say so. You have to go in, a governor should go in, anybody that you are giving appointment, call their files. If you give them assignment, review the file. If you are not sure of the entire civil service, the service working with you, like in the case of Katsina, you can call in specialized institution like the DSS to do some general staff screening. Yes, you have no right to say that you will not be screened. And if you have any criminal record, they should sack you and bring in somebody. This is a way to work. If you sit down there, actually, you even that is why maybe some past governments, you have people collecting billions of naira, trying to pray to bring in solutions to government problem instead of prayer to correct the character and strengthen the people to work for themselves. They want to go and commit special prayers all over. Right. Christians, Muslims, that is what they do.
Okay, let's talk about one key thing, which is sincerity of purpose, about all of the efforts that we're seeing right now, from the rhetoric, from the meetings, the summits, the different engagements that we've seen, from Kaduna to Plateau State to Zamfara, which, according to some experts, say is the epicenter of the current banditry that we're dealing with especially in northern Nigeria, for instance, and some of the other states also that have to deal with, issues like this. Niger State, for instance, and especially we know of the Boko Haram situation in the northeastern part of the country. Give me a sense of what this commitment has amounted to, because in the southwest, for instance, a couple of years ago, when this insecurity thing was becoming a new normal for them, they had to come up with something like the Amotekun Corps, for instance, and people can have divergent views about it, but apparently it's yielding some level of result. And like you did say, there are some governors who at their own level, as chief security officers, who have come up with their own local security arrangements. The different states have their various security operational outfits to help bridge the gap where the police and the Nigerian military are unable to do that. But as a collective, have we seen anything that indicates that they are walking the talk when it comes to dealing with this monster that is insecurity in northern Nigeria?
I can say here that what we are seeing is that although there are pockets of success and other things, there is no proper coordination. If you have proper coordination, you'll be able to have focus areas. Like you can even share responsibility. From the community level, considering the traditional rulers, you can bring in issues of primary intelligence. You can bring in issues of public enlightenment. Then when you climb up to local government chairmans, local government chair can now coordinate just the local government and then maybe network with other local governments. But then also, other things to consider, the state is there. The federal government is also there. Now we also have global actors where people from institutions in America, because they call themselves global institutions, they are even coming in. So like where they went and had the meeting there, once something is brought up there, first of all, it has to be domesticated nationally. After it is domesticated nationally, the states will have to carry and translate it. Once they translate it, they now push it down to the local level for implementation or use. If you do that along the way, you count what is achieved and what is not achieved. How are you going to bank on your achievements and maybe achieve other things further, or how you are going to curtail challenges and things not to restrain your own progress. Nothing like this is happening. What we see always is media fits. So now even the governors are even challenged and pushed to dress in one way or the other. Even the vehicles that governors drive now is decided by the media, or some contractors that will come with this. So at the end of the day, the governors should feel free and go in there, grab their own people and govern them. Like the case of one bandit that is said to have 100 camps, 100 camps in just Katsina State. So who is the governor of the state? Is it the bandit or the governor of the state? Who is the governor? Right. You see, this kind of thing, and people are not stupid. People can think. You don't even need to go to school to think. Yes, people can think.
Right. And on that particular note, we're going to take a quick breather. When we do come back, we'll circle back to the conversation around the level of control that some of these bandits have over especially communities that are rich with minerals as well as agricultural productivity, plus the nexus between poverty and the growing insecurity in northern Nigeria, especially because this is the region that is hardest hit when it comes to the poverty crisis in the country. Also, we get to talk about something that is reverberating and has been re-echoed once again, the conversation around state policing and whether or not it is going to be the panacea to this unending issue of insecurity in Nigeria. More on this conversation with Dr. Tanko Ahmed after the break. Join us again. Right, welcome back to the program. This is Sunday Politics. Here's a quick reminder that you can join the conversation or rather watch the show on the go if you want to join our YouTube live stream as well as our Facebook live stream. Plus, you can follow us across our social media platforms to catch up with more on this conversation. Also, check out our website, trusttv.com, for updates as well as a catch-up on this and many other programs that we have in store for you. We're talking about banditry in northern Nigeria in light of the recent developments and, of course, the moves by the governors of the northern region to address this unending challenge as a collective. This past week they met in Kaduna. Well, some of them that are still in the country during the week met in Kaduna to brainstorm on the ways forward. They did talk about the economic impact and its connection to the growing insecurity, as we've seen bandits operate almost with impunity across several volatile areas, despite all of these successes of the Nigerian military in trying to push back and restore law and order as well as engender peace and security. But also this past week we've seen some of these governors, 10 of them from the Northwest and the North Central, attend a summit in the United States as part of their effort to bring about solutions to the insecurity across the region. We've been speaking to Dr. Ahmed Tanko, a security expert who has been giving us his insight on some of these developing issues. Join us virtually from Jos, the Plateau State capital. Doctor, just before the break, we were talking about a variety of issues, but let's talk about one thing that seems to be reverberating every now and then when we talk about security. Earlier on, you were talking about community policing. One particular issue that is gaining a lot of traction recently has been state police. There's so many proponents for it, and you also have critics who are speaking against it. The Nigeria Police Headquarters has had to retract its comment when one of the Assistant Inspector General of Police representing the Inspector General of Police misspoke, as we later have come to find out that Nigeria is not yet mature. But evidently he said that those were his thoughts and not the thoughts of the Inspector General of Police. However, two former presidents have thrown their weight behind it. It seems to be gaining a lot of traction. As far as insecurity is concerned, is state police the panacea? Is that going to be the silver bullet that helps us get ahead of this issue?
Well, personally, I would say that if you have community police in place, what do you need state police for? This has given us it gives people the right to suspect that those that are pursuing state police, they simply want to bring in and enlarge their own executive power, while community policing would only give power to the people so that they'll be in charge. Let's say now you go to Katsina and say to Katsina, you can have your own police force. How would Katsina handle 100 camps distributed over hundreds of kilometers of land? What kind of police? What kind of state police are you going to do there? But community policing, you can discharge it. Yes, you can even control community policing from the government house.
Doctor,
what stops you from coordinating?
Pardon the interruption.
But then you are not going to have
Doctor, if you can hear me.
Take away.
Yeah, if you can hear me, Doctor, if you can hear me. Pardon the interruption. What is the distinction between community policing and state policing? Let's understand your thoughts on this too.
Community policing is people's-based police. People-based police. State policing is just dismembering the federal police. That's all. Yes. Yeah, okay. Simple thing. I will tell you this in very simple, straightforward language. Community policing is people's police. State police is executive police belonging to under the power of the governor. What do you need that for? Why doesn't the governor coordinate his own people to take care of their own this thing? The same thing goes with the way we govern. The same thing goes with agriculture. The same, if you don't bring it to the local level or community level, nobody is going to farm. And also there is misunderstanding. This when we talk about, now that you ask the difference between community policing and state policing, all these federal, state and local government responsibilities and other things, when we make policy, we are dividing strategy into its own various stages. Strategy is an art that is from the top. People can sit down, plan, say we have 37 states, out of which 28 are having this and that. Yes, you can do that in Abuja. But then operationally, the governor will take what you have decided in Abuja now to sit down with his own local government chairman to translate what the national policy is to the state operation, to be operated in the state. Now, the local government chairman is in charge of the tactics. That is where you have the science of getting things done. You cannot do things to the state from Abuja. You cannot do things to the to local government from the state headquarters. Even the local government chairman, when you come to them, they are the coordinators of the community. That is where the people are. Let me give you an example. The new set of young people that are coming now, they have expanded mind. Like I ran a 100 level international relations class in the Cosmopolitan University. When you go, you ask these kids, they can tell you that they can think like a planet. How? As individuals, they connect with their own family members. From there, they expand to the community, local, all over. The same thing now, that is what we are trying to do. We are confused. People are confused. What do you need state police for? If you want to do the state police, then scrap the community police that is already in place. Maybe these policemen, because they wear uniform, they will apologize for saying one thing they are not taking on behalf of the IG. I'm talking as Citizen Tanko Ahmed. There is no need for state police if we have community police. Community police is people police. State police is governor's police. Yes.
Right. Okay. And I suppose that says a lot about where you stand with regards to this particular national debate. We'll see how that ends up, especially with the traction that state police has been getting of late, with all of the engagements by the National Assembly and other stakeholders who are drumming up support for its creation. It does look like the Tinubu administration is leaning towards the idea of creating or establishing state police. Let's talk about one obvious thing that has also been highlighted in this great conversation about the security challenge in northern Nigeria. When those governors met in Kaduna, they highlighted the connection, the nexus between poverty, unemployment crisis, and basically the economic climate in the country to this surge in insecurity across our local communities, especially because that's where it's heavily felt. The governor of Katsina State, while unpacking some of the engagements they had, he said some of these bandit operatives are even able to recruit young people with as little as 500 naira. Give me a sense of,
yes,
you know, the complexity involved, especially because when you talk about Nigeria's largest poverty, you know, stricken population, you're talking about a greater percentage that are in the northern part, which explains this circle of violence that we're seeing over and over again. We've seen that with the Boko Haram insurgency, and now we're seeing that with the banditry. What are your thoughts about the complexity of the issue and how we can approach it from that angle of addressing the unemployment or the poverty that is surging and that is also feeding into this banditry activities?
Talking about poverty, you have brought this issue down to the ground, to the people. All this idea of community policing, agriculture, you do this and do that, cut down to functions of government. I will take a cue from an interview I watched from my former DS just about 2 days ago. He cut down functions of a government to social services. When you provide social services, including security, health, education, good community management and other things, there will be welfare. Presence of welfare deletes poverty. So whenever there is poverty, there is no welfare. If there is no welfare, there is no government social services. How can government run these social services effectively? Social services by enabling a functional, efficient, and progressive economic activity. So that is whatever you are going to bring in. If the people are farmers, make sure that they have able to farm with, and the condition too. If you do that, the farmers will farm more, they will have larger income. You, even in the government, will even have larger internally generated revenue. How are you going to build an economic system that will serve what we desire from social services? You will do that by a very sensible, disciplined, purposeful, and professional political process. So, if there is no social services, there will not be welfare. No welfare, there will be poverty. To delete poverty, provide welfare. To bring welfare, provide social services. To provide social services, enable a good economic system. To do that, you have to evolve a befitting political process. So now you can start from all ends. If you start from the beginning, then the leader at the top is not doing well. The leader in the middle is not doing well. And then how do you expect that there will not be poverty? And if there is poverty, poverty here means somebody even will have food to eat. What do you do today if you have a family and they are crying, there is no food, but in the second compound, there is plenty food enough for them to throw away? Look, you are almost free to go and grab that food. But you are not supposed to do that because you are human. You are civilized. You are not an animal. The other person too has to cooperate with you. Then thereafter, you have to run a government or something like that. This is the primary explanation I can give you. All this noise about fighting poverty, I think we even have ideas for fighting poverty more from the United Nations Development, or what do you call them, United Nations agencies. They are not here. They don't know what kind of level of poverty we have. They don't know our culture. They will tell you that they are doing researching. As far as I'm concerned, for ages, I've never seen any United Nations person going to my father's village or here where I was born to go and check exactly what is the level of poverty, the way you measure things in the lab. But then they will tell you that they will have the solution in a comfortable glass house where people can come downstairs, take coffee, eat 8 times a day. You want to solve problem of my little village in Jigawa State, you cannot do that. But this is what is running around. For us to be independent, for us to be progressive, for us to build things for ourselves, we have to snap and change the way we think.
Right. Okay. One
thing that is always encouraging me is that the young people coming after us, look, they will solve this problem. They will solve the problem. I'm telling you, already they have ways to solve the problem.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about the short and medium term solution. Clearly, you have faith in the next generation and their ability or capacity to address this challenge. But if you have to give, your projections, your assessment of how much longer we have to bear and deal with this almost weekly events. I mean, just this past week, 20-something vigilantes were killed. A village head was killed in Kaduna, and this is almost like an everyday thing, especially in some of those flashpoint states like Kaduna, Zamfara, for instance, Katsina, for instance. It's almost on a regular basis where this is now the new normal, and it is clearly showing in terms of our economic activities. When it comes to agriculture, we're not producing as much as we used to because of this banditry, ergo the food inflation crisis that we're dealing with, the shortages and all of that. Give me your projection as to, based on the current trajectory right now, what do you foresee in the near future about a likely solution and where things are headed?
Okay. To make a very reasonable projection, I will start from the immediate. Immediate now, whoever is not contributing or working out on agriculture should start doing it from today. Yes, agriculture does not have time to start. It's not necessarily until the beginning of the rainy season. I know of my state, Jigawa. We have expanded production of wheat. We have expanded a lot of things. Jigawa has gone into agriculture, and you will see the result of it at the end of bumper harvest. We are not going to also have just bumper harvest. We should also determine the way we run our local economy, beginning from the food we grow and how we eat it. For example, now, if I'm a rice farmer, I should be able to farm enough to take to the market. Let's say I plan to grow like 50 bags to take to the market. What I'm going to do, I should produce like 60 bags. The 10 bags I will keep in my house. As the grower of rice, I must eat rice free. As a herder of cattle, I must eat free meat. As a poultry farmer, I must have free chicken, free eggs, something like that. That is where you can protect yourself. Then also, if everybody is doing that, people should determine prices from local markets. No any experts should go to the national TV in Abuja with tie, looking very well fed, maybe driving one of the most expensive cars in the world, telling people how they are going to fix price of what they eat. You do that, you look for trouble.
Okay.
If poverty now rides only on food, banditry will emerge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Doctor, unfortunately, we're going to have to anchor the conversation here for now. Maybe we do another part, in the future to further double down on this, because there's quite a lot to navigate, especially in talking about the security challenges in the country. But thank you most kindly, Dr. Tanko Ahmed, for joining us on the program tonight. I appreciate your expert analysis and your insight on the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us on Sunday Politics.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Abdullahi. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Okay. That's our show for you tonight. Thank you most kindly for your time and company. Feel free to take a look at this particular show in case you missed it by following us across our social media platforms, so you can catch up with more of our contents across all the various platforms. We'll see you next week, live and exclusive on Trust TV. Until then, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed. From myself and the rest of the team, thank you for your time. We'll see you soon.